the Good evening. Welcome to the Harrison City Council meeting for December 5th, 2023. If you please rise and join us for a Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you please remain standing, I'd like to invite Pastor Tom Gillespie with New Vision Church to provide this evening's invocation.
Good evening and Merry Christmas to all of you. Father, we celebrate your great gift of salvation through your Son, Jesus. We are in awe of the miracles of his virgin birth, all of the miracles that he did according to your will, and finally the miracle of his resurrection. I declare that this is a time of miracles for Harrison. I pray for this city council. May they receive the miracle that they need in their family. I pray that they have the peace that you declared on earth at the announcement of your son's birth. Tonight the council will vote on the budget. The Bible says in Psalm 24:1, "The earth is the Lord's and everything in it. The world and all its people belong to him." We are reminded that everything is yours, and we are given dominion and the responsibility of the stewardship of what is yours. I pray that you will find at your coming that this council and the rest of us citizens have been good stewards of what you have entrusted to us. God, I pray that your blessing and covering of protection over this city will continue the remainder of this year and throughout 2024. In the name of Jesus, the name that is above every name, I pray. Amen.
Thank you.
Pastor Tom.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Mr. Egner.
Here.
Mr. Grubbs.
Here.
Mr. Samuels.
Here.
Mr. Akra. Mr. Maines.
Here.
Mrs. Wilson.
Here.
First item this evening is approval of council meeting minutes for November 21st, 2023.
So moved. Second.
Any corrections or additions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Egner.
Abstain.
Mr. Grubbs. Mr. Samuels.
Abstain.
Mr. Akra.
Yay.
Mr. Maines.
Yay.
Mrs. Wilson.
Yay.
Mr. Wilson.
Yay.
Our first guest this evening is the VFW, and they're here to make a presentation.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we'd like to present to the Mayor's Fund a charity contribution from Post 7570 to the Harrison Fire Department and to the Harrison Police Department.
Nice.
There you go. Who's paying for dinner? What you going to hide for?
Our next guest is the American Legion. They're also here to make a presentation.
If we have the young lady up there with Jane, we've got a check to give out to the Easter Seals Redwood Military Veterans Service. Jane will announce that.
Yes, we'd like to present a $1,000 check to the Easter Seals Redwood Military Veterans Service for $1,000. They are planning a Christmas party at the boathouse for Navy and Marines, and we wanted to be part of that to help reduce the cost to the families.
And Mayor, if you don't mind, since it's December, I wanted to give an update on what the American Legion of Harrison, Ohio has donated this year from the people who have called us. We've donated, starting off with the Mayor's Fund, $36,772. The Police Department, $7,677. The Scouts of Harrison, $1,750. The Senior Center, $1,000. Shaker Village, $1,000. The $1,000 you just heard for the Easter Seals for the military vets, $1,000. Harrison Fire Department, the AEDs, $13,250. We reimburse them. Breastfest, $2,000. Harrison Youth Football, $16,924. Pathways to Home, $4,500. Harrison High School Scholarships, $10,000. St. John's Athletics, $5,000. Harrison Moms Football for the dinners at home games, $2,000. Save a Warrior, $2,000. Gifts for the Yanks, $2,500. Harrison Junior Baseball, $5,000. Historical Society, $2,400. The Vets Children's Foundation, our National Commanders Project, $500. Stockyards for Healing, $1,000. Jaeger Baseball Team, $10,000. And Lacrosse of Harrison, $3,500, for a total this year of $109,633. And I think they've done an excellent job.
Do we have any visitors that would like to speak this evening? Okay, we'll move into the business portion of the meeting. The first item is a vote on an ordinance to authorize the final appropriation to funds to the City of Harrison's 2023 budget.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Mayor, just a couple things to talk about. Really, this is mostly just year-end cleanup as we're getting close to the end of the year. There's a portion of these are just transfers that we're making, so cleanup of some encumbrances. Couple items of note. There is $110,000 on this to pay for part of the well 3 repairs, and there's also about $16,000 increase to the TIF payments that are going out to Southwest Local and to Great Oaks, and also one final item is about an $18,000 charge that's coming through, but this is really just to the supplemental insurance coverage. It's just truing up the account, so that's all we have on this one.
Roll call, please.
Grubbs.
Yay.
Samuels.
Yay.
Agra.
Yay.
Maines.
Yay.
Mrs. Wilson.
Yay.
Mr. Wilson.
Yay.
Egner.
Yeah.
And that's ordinance 1723.
Our next item is a vote on an ordinance to approve the City of Harrison's 2024 budget.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Mayor, real quick, first off, I would like to thank Kim on her work on completing this budget for this year. Also the directors and their efforts in getting this done. It's been a couple-year process, but one of the things I've talked about in past years was the software upgrade that we had in our finance system. So that has really allowed us to really, work with the directors, get them really involved in this process. And I just want to thank them for all their efforts getting to this point. Thanks to Kim and her department, actually, to make sure we acknowledge everyone there. But for the budget this year, obviously the big thing, making sure we can cover operational expenses. Some of the things that we've included for this year, the salaries, they're based on the current head count. The only increase in head count is possibly looking at a new public works director for time being and doubling up if we do have a retirement in that department. Health insurance, as it was discussed in the public works session, we're planning on about an increase of about 10% in that based off of what we had last year. We're hoping it's not that high, but we're budgeting in that direction. We have a potential increase in the police OPF contributions. There's also a planned trip to Germany for fire and police. Hopefully that trip will be covered by donations, but we do have that included in the budget. We also have, and this is one of the things I'm excited about, is a comprehensive plan from economic development. So that's something we've included in the budget. I think there was about, $100,000 or $120,000 included for that. So I'm looking forward to that, working on that comprehensive plan. Also, another big project, and it's going to be a thing that we talk about for, quite a few years, is the Dry Fork Overpass. We're moving into the stage 2 engineering, so we have those costs budgeted. Couple of other items, we have a possible purchase or replacement of a squad. Really, it's just a purchase of a chassis, where they will take the box off a current squad, put it on a new chassis. With doing that process, it is a little bit cheaper than buying a brand new squad completely put together. We also have included is the 1.9% increase in the water sewer revenue. That was approved on an ordinance a couple years ago. And also trying to add funds to both the water and sewer reserve for future costs. Over the couple years of really the water fund and the water reserve fund, haven't kept up with the sewer side of things. So we're, as I mentioned, every month, we're taking a look at that, keeping an eye on that. So we're trying to generate and make sure we are saving for future projects for both of those funds or both of those departments. A couple other things that we have, I think Ryan touched on it before in the public works session. We do have 2 contracts that are coming due for the fire department and the steelworkers union. So we have those contracts that we will be start negotiating here probably in a couple weeks. And like I said before, the Dry Fork Overpass, we are making plans. We are trying to save for future expenses. I don't know that we know the exact amount that we're going to owe for this, but we are doing our best to try to save. So when that money does come due, we're able to handle those expenses appropriately. So, Mayor, that's all I have. If anybody has any questions. It was sent out, the budget was sent out to council. I didn't see any questions come back, so hopefully.
The negotiations this year, will they impact the budget this year, or will they be, if there's increases in salary or whatever, or benefits, is that a 2025?
No, it'll happen this year. So the contracts, I believe, are up at the end of May. So we'll have about 7 months worth of new wages. Now we did accommodate what we had hoped, but you don't know until you go through the negotiations process.
And can you talk a little bit about what the overall budget is, annual budget is for the city?
What specifically?
I guess big numbers, right? What is the annual budget for the city? And
What's that?
Yeah.
Last page. Estimated revenues for all funds, we're looking at about a little over 29 million. I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong year. For 2024, we have estimated revenues of 28,970,000, estimated appropriations of 27,239,000, with a net revenue of 1,730,000. But that is inclusive of all funds, not just the general fund.
correct. And how's that changed from last year? 23.
From last year was a difficult year to judge against because with the amendments for 2023, we are in the negative, but most of it was due to I believe the $5 million bond or sewer bond became available. So it's kind of hard to compare. The revenues were not that far off. It's really just the appropriations that really skewed it for last year. But it was something we knew was coming down the pipeline, and we were able to handle it.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Samuels,
Yay.
Agra,
Abstain.
Maines,
Yay.
Mrs. Wilson,
Yay.
Mr. Wilson,
Yay.
Egner,
Yay.
Grubbs.
Yay.
That is, ordinance 18 of 23.
Our next item is a vote on an ordinance to accept dedication of public right-of-way plat for Campbell Road and Industrial Drive. And this is the turning lane from Campbell to Industrial as you head west.
Mr. Mayor, I think that's already been voted on at a previous meeting. I think all we
that
need to do is
was-
have the mayor and the
That was the,
recorder sign it, right?
this is,
Wasn't that voted on before?
that was acceptance, I think, and this is dedication. We already voted on that? So I just need,
Mayor, might have been my fault. I didn't know you already voted on it, so that's why it got sent out.
so do we need this, Jim?
So you probably can,
Just need the
He
signatures.
says we need it.
Just needs your signatures.
We've already passed this ordinance.
Okay, we'll need to find out what the ordinance number is.
There was no ordinance number because we didn't pass it as an ordinance.
We
just
passed it as a resolution?
why don't you just vote to pass it again?
Okay, so,
Not gonna hurt anything.
so we're gonna pass it this time as an ordinance.
We're okay with that,
To
Jim?
both accept and
Just
dedicate.
make double sure.
Roll call, please.
Agra.
Yay.
Well, first I don't have a motion.
Oh,
Motion approved.
Second.
Okay.
Agra.
I should vote no just to be difficult, but I'm gonna say yay again.
How are you voting?
I was waiting for that.
Yay.
Maines,
Yay.
Mrs. Wilson,
Yay.
Mr. Wilson,
Yay.
Egner,
Yeah.
Grubbs, Samuels.
Yay.
It's ordinance 19 of 23.
Lisa, I'm sorry about that. Just for the confusion.
okay, we'll move into reports. I would like to remind everybody, this is the last couple days. If you're interested in donating toys to the Mayor's Fund, visit the city's Facebook page or website. There's a list of 22, 23 local businesses that have collection boxes. Copy of the poster that's in front of me will be on the front of the box. It'll be wrapped in red paper. Please drop your new ungift wrapped toy in the box, and then next week the boxes will be collected, and on the 16th the Mayor's Fund will be providing distribution of those toys along with food assistance and some clothing that's being coordinated with Southwest Local Schools, the Mayor's Fund, JTM, and now we have a new partner this year that's helping us, and that's Church on Fire. So I have one other thing for this evening. It pertains to the 7 elected officials. Mr. Grubbs has asked me to announce that you provide your committee preferences to him so he can consider those when developing committee assignments for 2024. So if you can email those to him, committees that you'd like to be on, and I'm sure that everybody wants to be on 3 main committees, but that doesn't work. We've had that before, so Mr. Grubbs gets the honor this year of figuring out who sits where. Always a challenging task, but I'm sure he's up to it. That's all I have this evening. Mr. Law Director, do you have a report?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I have no report this evening. Thank you.
Mr. Wilson, do you have a report?
Short one. We had November the 29th, I believe it was, correct me if I'm wrong, we had an open session with Mark Gradison for the Oakland development on the Carolina Trace. It went very well. I want to thank the public that came in. They were very cooperative. We will be having at our next meeting an open forum at, I can't hear you. Public hearing at what time? 7 o'clock before our next planning commission meeting, and then at that planning commission meeting, we probably will be voting. That's all I have, sir.
Mr. Egner, do you have a report this evening?
I do not, Mayor, thank you.
Mr. Grubbs, do you have a report?
Just a couple items, Mayor, thank you. We did have a utilities meeting this evening. Well 3, the money has been appropriated, as it was announced earlier. But we're gonna work on trying to get a grant to cover the cost of that, which is approximately $400,000. We're gonna work to try to get a grant to cover the cost of that rather than the city foot that bill. Jim's working on that right now. And hopefully we'll be able to find out in January, maybe February of next year, if it's been awarded. So, the screw conveyor has been ordered. It's about 26, 27 weeks out. That's for our wastewater facility, waste facility. That is gonna help, move it all out. We'll just leave it at that, so. But it'll be late next year before we're able to get that put in operation. So, I do want to take a second to thank Kim and her team, as well as, Gene and Ryan, in the budget process. It was absolutely a great process this year. Kim has worked her tail off on making that process go smooth, and thank each of the directors as well, for their feedback and input through the whole thing. It really was probably the easiest budget process that we've gone through. Easiest as in the process itself. It's always hard making some of the choices that we have to with the money and the resources of the city, but Kim and her team really made it go as smooth as she possibly could. So, and then I do want to thank all the city workers that were out and about for our Christmas parade. It was a wonderful event. The tree lighting, it was a wonderful turnout. It was so fun to stand on the street and look down Harrison Avenue and see the number of people that came out for the event, and the shops were full, and my wife went in and I stood at the door and watched. But that's really what makes Harrison the great community that it is, when we come together like that and we're able to enjoy the evening and celebrate the season. So, I want to thank the Rec Commission on all their hard work and pulling all that off. Kim and her team, other Kim and her team, really did a great job on that. So that's all I have, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Samuels, do you have a report?
Yes, and I apologize. I feel like I'm doing a lot of speaking tonight. Don't confuse me with Mr. Grubbs or Mr. Maines. This
will
only
not.
happens once a year.
Mr. Wilson here runs the stopwatch on you.
So, we did have a finance committee. Obviously, we do take a look at the financial report for the prior month. We're pretty happy with where revenues are compared to expenses. No real surprises. We do have a little increase in cash invested. It is inflated, but we do have some bond payments that are coming out in November, December timeframe. That are going to bring that back down to the level that we've been at for most of the year. And that's just one of the things, with having that money invested, it does sound like a lot, but the money being invested rather than sitting in accounts is providing us the interest income. I didn't go into specifics when talking about the budget, but that has really helped us out this year. Having the higher interest rates, it is, obviously there's other issues with the higher interest rates, the higher expenses, causing the higher expenses, but, we are benefiting from that at this point, but obviously that is a short-term revenue that is not gonna last. Item of concern, the water operating fund, I've said it, before, we're gonna keep an eye on it ongoing into 2024. We do have a rate increase that's scheduled to take effect in February of 2024. So we'll take, obviously keep an eye on it to make sure that that fund stays positive. Operating budget, we did approve the final draft in the Finance Committee. We did talk about the budget amendments, which we talked about in detail earlier. The new police and fire vehicles have been purchased, and I believe they've been delivered. But that was approved, I think, back in October. And I am pretty sure that as soon as we approved it, Chief Lindsay was already at his desk writing up the PO to get those vehicles on site. The CIC audit has begun for 21 and 22. One thing we talked about is we are still waiting on a grant reimbursement for the Dry Fork Bridge overpass. It was a TID grant totaling about $230,000. So hopefully that money will come in, I believe, from the county soon. Another topic, a quick topic, the recreation improvement. They are applying for a grant, which I believe totaled 1.85 million. So I'm glad to see some progress moving forward with that. And the Finance Committee does have a tentative meeting scheduled for December 12th at 4:30. We just went ahead and scheduled it in case there are any final year-end issues that need to come up. If the meeting is not needed, obviously we won't have it. And there will be no Finance Committee meeting on the fourth Tuesday of December. That is December 26th. So we just decided that we will push it off until January, then we can talk about year-end numbers. So, just had another update on the fire levy. We had our final public work session tonight. I think we, have our guidance moving forward, and I think the next step is we'll bring something before council to vote on at the next meeting, hopefully. Police committee will be held on Tuesday, December 19th at 6 p.m. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Hager, do you have a report?
Short one. One of the first thing I was handed when I got the appointment was a list of concerns by the district. They've been working back and forth, and Thursday at 7:30, December the 7th, will be the final meeting, I think, and I'll have something to report on what they are actually after at the next council meeting. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Maines?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I do. One question I have, our next council meeting is January the 2nd, is that correct?
No. Our next council meeting is
I'm sorry,
December 19th.
our first council meeting in January will be January the 2nd, which
Correct.
is typically our meetings for economic development, streets, water. Will those committee meetings be held, or is that, because we haven't been organized, we typically don't have those committee meetings? That's what I,
Typically, the first Tuesday, we didn't have meetings because committees are voted on that evening. And then
Correct.
we begin in the second meeting of the month. Third Tuesday is usually when committees start.
correct, okay, and that's just all I wanted to, so, streets committee, economic development, wastewater will not meet, will not meet in January. That's
If you
really-
need a meeting, you can have a special one, but
The plan would be not to have those meetings, we typically don't. So, very quickly, Economic Development Committee meeting and then the Streets Committee meeting, they both met tonight. Just some general announcements coming out of Economic Development Committee. Kroger's has completed, the work on their lobby vendors area, establishing a new sushi bar. Kroger has also added several new items to their landscaping, removed several of the dead trees, and replaced some of the older specimens with new landscaping. So that's exciting. I've seen the new trees planted in the islands. Jersey Mike's has received a temporary certificate of occupancy and will be opening the new location in less than 2 weeks. See social media postings for details. I saw this, had to look on social media real quick, and as of yesterday, they were posting 10 days, so maybe they're down to 9 days before they open. Cincinnati Test Systems has completed the work on the new addition and has received their certificate of occupancy, CTS. Cincinnati Test Systems is currently projecting 10 to 15 new jobs as part of this expansion. That's exciting because those are 10 to 15 good quality jobs, high-tech jobs. JTM has started work on Phase 3 and decided to integrate Phase 4 additions into Phase 3. The new joint phase of the project is envisioned to be completed by December 31st, 2024, so that's a year away. So, and if you don't see that when you look at the front of JTM, but if you walk around behind JTM, you can see where they've really bumped out on the backside of their newer facility that they built 3 or 4 or 5 years ago now. Plans for the Hearth Brewery, the old Burwinkle's building remodel are in review and work has begun. That project is on schedule for a mid-May opening. I know that has been rumored on social media to be on again, off again, that sort of thing, but that is moving forward per our report. Eberson's Dessert Shop, which is located at 10543 Harrison Avenue, that's the Harrison Square Shopping Center. They are having a ribbon cutting tomorrow at 5 p.m. Public is invited to that. Community Development Office, the Planning, Permitting, Zoning Inspections Office will be closed through the holidays, January 25th through 29th. most of the folks there are just, using up the last of their vacation time, so there'll be no one there. They're gonna go ahead and close the office and
January or
reopen.
December?
What's
You
that?
mean December?
What did I say?
January.
December 25th through 29th, yes, thank you for correcting me. And reopen on January the 2nd, yeah.
You know how we
So
are.
I say one thing while I'm
And
reading.
you meet another.
Yeah, thank you. That's why I have you all to help me here.
I know.
He's forward thinking.
We closed during the Christmas holidays, December 25th through 29th. And there will not be likely not an Economic Development Committee meeting in January due to our organizational meeting, the first council meeting in January. Get that all straight. Yeah, and then Streets Committee also met tonight. Campbell and Industrial Road, that added turn lanes, leaving Industrial and coming from Campbell into Industrial are nearing their, what I guess I would call the winter or late fall completion. There's still quite a bit of work to do that'll happen in the spring. It'll be the final blacktop, the final leveling, and the final coat. But they will be grinding the lines and putting down temporary lines here for the winter. That work will resume in the spring with the final blacktop coating. And the timing of the light at that intersection, there isn't a light plan for that intersection, maybe spring, but sometime next year. Just for some reason, traffic lights are hard to procure post-COVID. Who knew we would have supply chain issues with traffic lights? And that's the same thing with Harrison and Stone. We're waiting on the controller to turn those lights on, and we're looking at next year sometime. We really don't have a firm date on that, so we're optimistic that it will be next year. Dare Avenue is a potential skip project, and that'll look much like Park Avenue and some of the other streets that we've rebuilt in the last several years. Hasn't been confirmed that we have the funding for that, but Dare has been put in for that. We should know by next year whether we have that as a skip project, and it will be a complete tear down and rebuild with new curbs, much like Park Avenue was completed this year. And Dry Fork Road is still in the phase 1 design. They're still talking construction in 2025, and that's the date that's written down there, not 2026 or 2024, 2025. So that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. I hope that wasn't too long, Mr. Wilson. That's all I have.
Mrs. Wilson, do you have a report?
I do, Mayor, thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank the Harrison VFW and the Harrison American Legion for their continual support of our community through their donations. It makes a great deal of difference of what sometimes the Mayor's Fund, the police and the fire department, and other organizations are able to do. So we love that, see that still happening. And I'd like to thank Pastor Tom Gillespie for being here tonight and leading us in prayer, because we sure do need it. Thank you, sir. As it's been brought up earlier, the Harrison Recreation had a great parade and tree lighting this past Saturday. Unfortunately, I was out of town and unable to attend, but from the pictures and the reviews that I saw on Facebook, it looked like it was a great one. And you heard also from Mr. Grubbs that today was a proposal that was made for a grant for the recreation improvements that they want to do here at our community center. They want to put in splash pads for kids, and they want to put in new ball fields, some new desperately needed restrooms, and some other really neat things that they have plans on doing. All depends on whether we can get the funding or not. It won't all be done at one time, but the Recreation Committee has worked really, really hard trying to come up with what they think the vision should be. So I think that we owe a great deal of thanks to Kim and all her committee. They work hard all year to bring great events to our community center and to our city, and they work really, really hard. Lastly, the new banners, new hero banners are up on Harrison Avenue. If you get a chance, go by and look at them. They're pretty neat. We have 3 old banners that haven't been picked up yet. They are here at the community center and can be picked up Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4:30. The families of Bernhardt, Moss, and McCarty, if you could please pick them up. If you have an issue and can't get here during the day, if you'll contact me, I will make sure that you get them back. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Maines,
Yay.
Mrs. Wilson.
Yay?
Mr. Wilson.
Yay.
Agner,
Yay.
Grubbs. Samuels,
Yay.
Akra.
Yay.
We stand adjourned. Thank you.